All right, y'all. So we back with another video, and today we're going to be going over Rebellious Failure, Maki Zenin. A very interesting character, indeed. The name definitely has quite a depiction of the character. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, let's get right into it. So the character is evaluated as a B, as you can see. She is an SSR mono red attacker character. So we're going to be talking about their skill level priorities, their synergies, their memories, and of course why I evaluated them at B. And yeah, let's get right into it, starting off with the skill level priorities. So the first skill that we have here is Bone Shredder. So Bone Shredder is going to deal 90% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy and decreases the selected enemy's taijutsu damage by 30%. Now at level 10, it will deal 135% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy and decreases the selected enemy's taijutsu damage by 44%. So in a way, you kind of debuff them a little bit so that way they don't do as much damage. So keep in mind, when I'm talking about a lot of these skills that she has, they cost her like no cursed energy at all. So everything she does is free and you can kind of just pick and choose what you want to use. But in this case, you're going to be upgrading Bone Shredder because it's going to do damage and decrease the enemy's taijutsu damage so you don't die as often. So it's got a little bit of use out of it. Next up, we have her ultimate as her second skill that we're going to prioritize, which is Playful Cloud Dance, and that's going to deal 480% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, but at level 10, it will deal 959%. So pretty high modifier. It's not that bad. It's pretty decent. Keep in mind, it is only single target though, and characters like Gojo will be doing 1000 to all enemies, so there's that. Of course, I don't like to compare him too much to Gojo because Gojo is the strongest character. Next up, we have her next skill, which is going to be Swirl. So this one's not bad, but it's whatever. So this is also going to cost 0 cursed energy to activate. It deals 70% taijutsu damage to all enemies, and then at level 10 it deals 105% taijutsu damage to all enemies. So again, the modifiers are still really not that high. They're pretty low overall. You'll probably be using Swirl when they're like group enemies, and then when you're at the boss stage, you'll probably be using Bone Shredder a lot more. That's about it. It doesn't have anything else to it. That's literally all it does. Next up, we have the last but not least is her normal attack, which is Horizontal Sweep, and at level 1 it deals 100% taijutsu damage, and then at level 10 it deals 150% taijutsu damage. The reason why you're probably not going to be using this is because, for one, all her cursed skills cost no energy, and you're better off using Bone Shredder, which is also single target. Yes, it has a little bit less of a modifier, but at least it can decrease the enemy's selected taijutsu damage by 44%. So it has a use rather than just doing damage, right? So yeah, I mean, her skill levels are kind of like whatever. Then let's talk about her passive skills, because I feel like we can't gloss over that either. At the start of battle, this is Heavenly Restriction, by the way. At the start of battle, increases own taijutsu damage by 7%. The more enemies in the wave, the greater the damage boost. Okay, you get to the boss stages, most of the time there's only one enemy. He's only getting 7% taijutsu damage. That shit is trash. What are you gonna do with that? That's nothing. I don't know how I feel about that. That's like, yeah, GG. I really don't like this passive skill. I feel like they could have made it so much better. Keep in mind, in the future she will get a buff, but I feel like that passive just fell off short. Next up, you have the next buff, which is your next passive. It's going to be Early Bird Gets the Worm. At the start of each wave, increases own taijutsu damage by 10%. One turn. So the only one that matters is the initial turn. So I guess they were trying to look for like a speedrun type of blitz kind of character. That did not come out really well with this character, considering all her modifiers are really low. Like, she literally doing only 100% damage on all her skills aside her ult is ridiculous. It's so low. And then on top of that, the buffs from her passives do not give her enough damage bonus. It's really disappointing to see how bad they made this character. I really feel bad for this character, honestly. Now that we finished talking about the skills, let's actually go into the synergies so that way we can get something going with her. So synergies, we have Nanami here. So considering Maki is going to probably be out there first and just doing damage, even though everything is free, she does have really low modifiers, and you're kind of going to want to pair her up with somebody who can do a little bit more damage to support her. Nanami is definitely going to be a good case because he can do AoE damage, he can buff himself, he can Black Flash, he can crit a lot, he can provide crit to your entire team if you have the memory that applies crit. It's a limit break passive where, like, if you crit, you give 10% crit to all your allies. If he has that memory equipped, I do not remember what it's called, But if he has that equipped, then you know that can give Maki a little bit more leeway, at least to be able to crit and do a little bit more damage. But overall, she is going to work fine with Nanami, not whatsoever. Next up, she pairs really well with Itadori because Itadori is a carry character, and even though she is an attacker, she still needs help to actually output the damage that she needs. So of course, having Itadori with her, Itadori can kind of compensate her damage and do a little bit more. And they're both taijutsu characters, so if you run more of a taijutsu based comp, they can function. That's all there really is to talk about that. That's literally the only reason using Itadori with Maki. Next up, we have Todo. So Todo obviously is going to be the best synergy for her overall if you're trying to output as much as possible with Maki. So what Todo does is he activates Memories of a Friendship, which is his skill 2, and that basically provides a taijutsu damage buff to whoever's behind him, which in this case it will be Maki, and then he can also counter the enemies who attack Maki. So that also gives her protection in a sense, so she won't die. And of course, once you do ult with your Todo, and he does have Memories of a Friendship still active on Maki, he will provide Maki and himself a 40% crit rate buff. So that is going to make Maki be able to crit a lot more, so she can do more damage very frequently. So best synergy overall if you're trying to, you know, utilize Maki. Next up, we have Yaga and Nanami. So in most cases, this is how I would kind of see a team formation. It would be Yaga, Nanami, Todo, and then Maki. With that, you can have Todo protect your Maki while also providing, you know, crit rate buffs and taijutsu damage buffs, and then you'll have Nanami and Yaga, who are like the best buffers in the game right now. Again, they're all stackable, so you can just continuously use both of them and their buffs, and then use Todo to kind of protect your Maki while also providing a little bit of buffs to Maki herself, and then do more damage with Maki overall. Now let's actually talk about the memories. So the memories obviously kind of decide how you play the character and how you build the character. So let's actually get into it and why we're choosing these memories. And keep in mind, these are recommended. Of course, there's going to be more than just for these 4 memories that I'm showcasing that you can use on her, but these are going to be, in the most cases, the ones you're going to be using for her because they're probably her best ones. So the first memory we have is Carefree Youth. You activate this memory with your ultimate and it increases own taijutsu damage by 70%. Not bad at all. She is a taijutsu character, so you want to maximize that. So she will do more damage with her ultimate on her taijutsu. If own HP is 50% or below when activating, increases own taijutsu damage by 30%. It's useful. I don't know if you would be able to use it most of the time. You can if you don't have Todo on your team and you're using, like, for example, Yaga, Nanami, and Rare Inumaki, and you're using that comp instead of Todo for Inumaki, then yeah, you can do it, because then, you know, if you did have Todo on your team, there's a chance that you probably wouldn't even get below 50% HP because Todo is such a good protector. And then you have its limit break, which will help her a little bit as well. So if you limit break that memory at the start of battle, grant survival status to self. So what this means is when your character inevitably does die, then they just revive, so they don't actually die. So this gives her a little bit of a safety net so that if she doesn't die, your carry can continue on attacking the enemy. Next up, we're going to be talking about one of the best memories in the game, especially for taijutsu characters. I can't stress enough how good this memory is. It might not be the best for her, but it's one of the best memories for taijutsu characters. You activate this using your ultimate skill, and it says increases own taijutsu damage by 80%. Already really good. This is just as high as non-standard for Hollow Purple Gojo memory, or Recollection if, you know, you're using the global standard name. And then when you limit break it, when crit is performed, you will fill your own ultimate skill gauge by 200. So this kind of enables, she's not going to be a complete ult spammer, but, you know, she'll be able to get faster if you have that crit buff, you know. So just having characters that can increase crit also for your team is going to be really nice. That's why I really like having Todo on the team with her, because once Todo actually buffs her taijutsu damage and increases her crit with his ultimate, then she'll be able to crit a lot more and she'll be able to get her ultimate back very fast. So that's how I kind of see it, and that's why I really like this memory, not only just for her, but for any DPS taijutsu character. They're going to be getting their ultimates very frequently as long as they're able to crit. This memory by far is one of the best ones on Itadori. I just had to put that out there because Itadori is just bit chad with this memory. Now let's talk about the next memory. This next memory a bit goofy, but this one's definitely useful on this character. So the memory is the strongest fooling around. So it's obviously Gojo and Sukuna, you know, messing around in the beginning of literally the entire series. So It says, when a skill is activated, that's how you activate your memory, increases own taijutsu damage by 60% for 2 turns. Pretty good overall. It's not as high as the Fraternal Bond that we just talked about, but I mean, you'll still have it for 2 turns, which isn't bad at all. On top of that, you have the passive skill where if you get Limit Break 1 on the memory, at the start of turn, if own HP is 50% or below, you grant the evasion status to self 1 time, up to 1 time during battle. So this does give you protection for like 1 turn. Not bad. I still prefer the revive, because what if you get the protection and then you don't even get attacked in that turn? Then it's useless, but at least with the revive from a memory like this is much better. So kind of how I see it, I feel like, in my opinion, I'd probably have this memory is the best memory for her, and then this memory, and then this memory, just because this one, at least this is just forward outputs your maximum potential by, you know, being able to do more damage, and you can also get your ultimate skill gauge back, while this one, it gives you more damage on your ult, but it gives you a safety net with the revive, while this one gives you a safety net in the sense of only that specific turn you get that evasion. So I really like this one better than this one. So that's why I think this one, and then this one, and then this one, because they're not really in order. These are just the recommended ones, but I feel like these are the best 3 for the character. Like I said, there's not really a lot of good memories, especially for taijutsu characters within the game. So we only have limited options, but these are definitely one of the best ones. And this is by far the best taijutsu memory we have to date. Next up, we have this memory right here. Of course, we always have to have at least a free-to-play memory, so that way, in case you don't have any of these S-star memories, you have some kind of alternative to it. So let's get right into it, and that one is going to be Malevolent Shrine. And what it does is, when the ultimate skill is activated, increases own damage dealt by 60%, and that has a cooldown of 6 turns. So it is a good option if you do not have these other memories, because it will increase damage dealt by 60%, so it's still pretty good. And then on top of that, you have the passive effect where at the start of each wave, increases all taijutsu damage received by 30% for 2 turns. So this does have a little bit of synergy with the fact that every time she goes into a stage, she gets like a 10% taijutsu damage increase or some sort, right, for the first turn. So I guess she has that, and then she also gets the little bit of taijutsu damage bonus as well for each enemy in the wave, right? So with that, she will be able to do more damage as soon as she enters each wave, which does help her speed run a lot of stages. So I guess in the beginning of the game, when you're trying to breeze or blow through story, she definitely is going to be good, but then she's going to start falling off once you start getting to the tougher bosses. So just keep that in mind. So overall, her valuation is B. As time goes on, she'll be in C, especially when Toji comes out, because Toji is basically going to be her on crack. Toji is going to be a red SSR character who's also an attacker, and he's definitely going to be SS, and he has like all sorts of debuffs in this kit, all sorts of things that buff him and dodge and everything, and all his skills cost 0, by the way, too. So he's going to be way better than her. So you will never use her ever in your entire life, only for the start of the game, I think. That's about it. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.